is when we're multiplying or foiling special products, okay? Now, I am not as concerned with you knowing these names yet. We don't need to know perfect square or difference of squares for this upcoming test, all right? But it is something that I'm going to start exposing you to now because we're going to hear it a lot after this chapter, all right? So I'm going to, like I said, you don't need to have it memorized for this test or anything. You just need to know how to attack the problems, okay? And the words will mean more and more to us as we start working in the next sections, okay? So we're going to kind of go down here and we're going to look at number 1, okay? So if I look at number 1 here, 6p minus 1 squared. How do you attack this type of problem? What do you think? No, good try, but no.
Do you square 6p?
No, that's kind of what she was just saying.
You do the parentheses first.
Well, you can't put p and no p together, right? Done?
You put another 6p minus 1.
Yes, you write it out twice, okay? So a lot of you guys, if you're thinking about it, this is something that we just did, right? This was on our last test, and we would just drop it into all 3 parts. It worked because it was a monomial. There was only one part, okay? When you've got a binomial or a trinomial, that no longer works, okay? So this squared right here means right,
Right.
yeah, I know, right? Write it out twice. And FOIL. Okay, so write it out twice and FOIL. Okay, so we're going to take 6p minus 1 times 6p minus 1. Okay, all right. Jill and G, start us off. 6p times 6p. P squared, good. Kayla, 6p times negative 1. Very good. Okay, Shiloh, negative 1 times 6p.
Negative 6p.
Good, negative 6p. Julian R, negative 1 times negative 1.
Positive 1.
Good. Okay, Toby, anything we can combine here?
The negative 6p.
What would you get when you do that?
Negative 12p.
Very good. So we get 36p squared minus 12p plus 1. And that's your answer. Okay? All right, so now just understand that it doesn't matter if it's wrote with a squared and we write it out twice, or if it's just the same thing wrote twice. I mean, these are the same thing, okay? So it doesn't matter if I write one guy with a square or 2 out side by side. They mean the same thing, okay? So now that's called a perfect square, okay? So a perfect square sum is simply when we have a plus, right? Sum means addition. And perfect square means there's 2 of them. Okay, so perfect square. All right, now what do you think the next one means? If it's a perfect square but it's called difference, you subtract it. That's right. So you write a minus b squared. Okay, and so just keep in mind that this is telling you that you're going to write a plus b times a plus b, right? You write it out twice. Okay, that's really important. We got to make sure that we know that. Same thing, it doesn't matter if there's addition or subtraction in the middle. You're going to just write it out twice in FOIL. Okay? So that's what a perfect square is. A perfect square is when we just have 2 of the same thing. Perfect square, 2 of the same thing. Okay? Now, there's also one called difference of squares. And I can assure you, by the end of this next chapter, you will be tired of hearing me talk about difference of squares. This is a big guy. All right? So difference of squares, we're going to look down on number 3 here. Okay, is when I have the exact same thing, but one's a positive and one's a negative. All right? So when I look at this, you're not going to be able to write it with a squared because they'll never be the same. One's always going to be a plus, one's always going to be a minus. Identical numbers and letters. Okay? So if I look at this guy, Ziggy, start us off. 9d times 9d. 81d, close.
Oh, squared.
Squared, there you go, right? Add your exponents, okay? Maija, 9d times negative 4. Very good. Okay, Jonathan, 4 times 9d.
36D.
Good, plus 36d. Zion, 4 times negative 4. Negative 16, very good. Now, when I combined in the middle here, what do we see? Yeah, in this case they go to 0, right? A negative 36, a positive 36 are going to cancel out. And we're going to get 81 d squared minus 16. Okay? And that's going to be your answer. All right, now the word difference of squares, okay, difference of squares, where that comes from is, first off, it's difference, okay, so difference, and it's squares means can I square root? Can I square root, okay? So if I look at 81, can you square root 81? Yeah, can you square root 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where the name actually comes from. The name comes from the answer, okay? So this would be what I call DOS, difference of squares. Okay, so difference of squares. When it's the same thing, but one's a minus, one's a plus, the middle will always drop out. Okay, so let's go back up to the top here. Okay, first off, I'm going to go and put DOS just kind of right next to it so you understand that that's my abbreviation for it. Okay, so difference of squares. And this is, again, where we're going to have, we're going to have one that's a plus, so like A plus B and A minus B. Okay? And the middle will drop out, or middle will cancel. Okay? Now again, I am not concerned about you knowing perfect square difference of squares yet. My concern is can you solve it with the answer, okay? All right, I want you to take a second, and I want you to try 4 on your own. Let's see what you guys can come up with on number 4. This is a tricky one. There's a lot of letters in here.
Okay, first off, 10 times 10 is. Okay, 100. And so when you take 10 times negative 13, so where did your negative go?
Is it G?
It doesn't matter, just as long as you got both parts. And then the positive, and now take your 13h squared times your negative 13h squared.
Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and start talking about this. This is a tough one, alright? Numbers are a little bigger, and I put in a lot of letters on you. Alright, so, Anthony, start us off. 10G times 10G.
20G squared.
Oh, sad.
Oh,
Sad.
100G squared. sorry.
100G squared. There we go. And Anthony, if it makes you feel any better, I saw 4 other people do that. Okay? It's not 20, guys. 10 times 10 is 100. Okay? Alright, 10G times negative 13h squared. Jody, what do you think?
I just put 130 GH squared.
You put negative in front of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So G and H squared. Now guys, just so you know, it doesn't matter. If you put H squared and then the G, it's the same thing. Alright? It does not matter. I will count both of them right. Usually we do alphabetical order. But again, as long as you have both parts, you're good. Order's not important as long as you got the right letter and then the right exponent on that letter. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to go to the next guy here. And we're going to take 13h squared times 10g. Kennedy, what'd you get there?
I didn't do it yet, but it would be like
Okay, let's start. 13 times 10.
130,
So positive 130.
130.
And then, yeah, you've got a g and an h squared. Again, it doesn't matter what order you put that in. Okay? Alright, and then the last one. 13h squared times negative 13h squared. Hannah?
Cancel out, so he's, no, cancel out,
Which 169, okay, so it's gonna be positive or negative 169? Negative 169 and what, how many h's? H to the, there you go, okay? Guys, remember you're multiplying, we're not adding, okay? We're multiplying. So now, in the middle, what happens? Now those cancel out, so you're left with 100 g squared minus 169 h to the fourth. Okay? All right, try number 6.